Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the shortstorypodcast.com, where you hear a fast paced short story and get a quick writing tip afterward. I'm your host, J.B. Wagotsky, narrating another human horror tale. Please excuse today's sound quality. I am narrating from the veranda of a bed and breakfast we are staying at in Port St. Lucie, Florida, so you might hear a bird or two or even a car far off in the distance. Welcome to episode 20, An Afterlife Visit. As the emergency vehicle raced towards the hospital when their accident victim stopped breathing, the experienced paramedics prepared the young woman's body. Jean, the paramedic, rubbed the two paddles together, smearing the vaseline for best skin contact, while the other paramedic, Shelley, cut open the girl's blouse to quickly cross-position the cold paddles onto her chest cavity. Jean yelled, "Now!" The victim's lifeless form jerked into the air. They fired the machine 3 more times at Jean's command. Again, again, again. 3 more times the girl's body finally started breathing. Relieved, the paramedics sighed in relief that she returned from the dead. They knew she was not out of risk yet, for death was still stalking her. Jean started to ask the girl before she was completely back from the dead, but first she hesitated, so Shelley asked her and whispered in the victim's ear, "Have you ever died and then come back before? What did you see?" The poor girl barely nodded her head and started to speak. "It is not what you think it might be like until you experience it firsthand." Shelley knew that she had to keep the victim awake, so she kept asking her questions. "What does your soul taste and smell like?" Still disoriented, the victim oddly nodded. I smelled the flavor of 1,000 rainbows just after a summer storm, and the taste of the first newly formed crisp snowflake as it gently landed on my tongue. I realized my soul smelled and tasted good." Eager to hear more, Shelley replied, "Tell me more." At first hesitating and slurring her words, then more clearly, as if in a trance, she said, "The scary part is that it was the driver's soul. It was blackened by hatred and unholy forgivable acts and deeds of the cruelest, most imaginable horrors. Then I dreaded to taste the horrible bitterness of his inhumanity to all things, his sour, rotten soul, smoldering like a burned out husk of disgusting, undead, decomposing feces, condemned for all his acrid bile soaked deeds, a stench so vile it turned all other souls away for all eternity. I jerked awake as his soul dissolved right in front of me." For the rest of the trip, Shelley sat there on the other gurney pondering what the young girl had said. If any of what she said was true. They arrived at the hospital and dropped off their living accident patient before rushing off on their next call. The end. Today's quick writing tip. Your short story can be an emotional driven morality tale, balancing a life or death situation. When you do this, create a sweet and sour choice for the reader to think about by giving the reader a choice between good and evil. Entertain your reader by focusing on the what if curiosity that we all have inside of us. Help the reader to visualize what might happen to them in the future, just like today's tale does. I hope this quick writing tip helps you. Okay, that's a wrap. Thank you for listening to this episode of the shortstorypodcast.com. So you don't miss out on an episode, please take a moment to subscribe to the show and leave a nice review. Thank you for listening and have a great day.